Let's imagine we're knitting this shape with a 1x1 rib. To begin the pattern, you would want to measure the distance that you're casting on. So I can see from the side to center of my piece is 8 inches. If this piece though, remember we had said that it is actually just half of the piece that I'm knitting. So I wouldn't be just casting on 8 inches, I'd be casting on 16. Then let's take that 16 inches times our stitches per inch, 10.25, to find out the stitches that we're casting on. And that comes to 164. So cast on 164 stitches. Now we can see that over the distance of over 1 6/16, we are increasing 1/8. I like to label all my triangles, so I'll recommend you do that too. And that way, when you're writing your pattern, you can label it with the triangle that corresponds with your flat pattern. So in 1 6/16, we are increasing 1/8. So we want to take these measurements and find out how many rows and how many stitches we're increasing. So we take 1 6/16, because that is the height that we're seeing here, and we're knitting in this direction, we're going to take this measurement, multiply it by our rows per inch, to get how many rows we're knitting. And that comes to 11.125. And I'm going to leave that number as a decimal for just a minute. I want to find out how many stitches we are increasing. So I'm going to take 1/8, which is the measurement that I can see we're increasing, times our stitches per inch. And that's 1.28. So we can round this to say over 11 rows, increase 1 stitch. So if it were me, on row 11, I would increase 1. So now we can do the same thing we did here to all the following triangles. When we get to this moment here where we've begun our neckline, We will break up our pattern, or we'll make a note in our pattern that as we continue to do the shaping on one side, we are now beginning to do the shaping at the neckline as well on the other side. So when I'm writing my pattern, I often like to break up my page like this in this moment so that I have my decreasing actions happening on one side of the fabric and my decreasing actions happening on the other. And when we reach the point of the neckline, you'll be engaging the hold button. So we will actually put all needles out of work on the ribber and main bed that are from this side of our piece over. And we will focus one side at a time. And when we complete this side, we will go back to the row at which we put our neckline on hold, bring our row counter back to that, go back to this point in our pattern, and repeat on the other side, the other part of the neckline. I'm going to go ahead and complete a bit of this, and then we will sit down at the machine to see how this could look on the machine. We'll take a look at how the shaping would occur in a 1x1 rib, how it'll change ever so slightly with a 2x2 rib, and then I'd like you to then use those concepts to apply them to whatever fabric you are creating and make your best educated guesses at how you will be increasing and decreasing. Remember that you always want to have at least 2 stitches on the outside of your decreases or of your increases, because these 2 stitches create a clear path for your seaming. Many of you will realize that you want more than 2 stitches on the outside of your increasing and decreasing so that there's plenty of fabric to seam in, and also provides some like visual it's visually nice as well. And for example,